Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex topics and, well, we try to make them clear, maybe even actionable. Today we're diving into something that feels like a really profound shift in how businesses operate. It's the rise of AI agents. We seem to be moving beyond those, simpler automation tools we've gotten used to towards something genuinely intelligent, adaptable. And it looks like it's really poised to change the game for small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs, helping them compete. Our mission today: to give you a clear roadmap, basically, for putting AI agents to work successfully. We want to stress that this isn't a one-off thing. It's really a continuous journey. Lots of learning, and you definitely need responsible governance. We've culled key insights from the SMB guide to the AI agent lifecycle, and some related research, too. We want you to walk away feeling well-informed about what feels like a pretty strategic imperative. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, the promise here for SMBs is, well, it's significant. It's the chance to operate with the kind of efficiency and scale usually only seen in much larger companies. But, without the huge overhead that normally comes with it, if you approach it strategically, it's a powerful competitive edge.
Okay, so let's start right there. What exactly makes an AI agent different from the rule-based automation we kind of already know? I mean, we have bots that can pull data from an invoice and stick it in the accounting system. That's useful, sure, but what's really new here?
That's a great starting point. The fundamental difference really is the shift from just following rules, rule-bound execution, to behavior that's goal-driven and adaptive. Think about it. Traditional automation is great for predictable, repetitive stuff. But if that invoice format changes just a little bit,
Yeah, and the bot probably breaks.
exactly, it breaks. An AI agent, on the other hand, it actually perceives its environment, it reasons, it plans, and then it takes autonomous action to reach a goal. And crucially, it does this without needing constant human checking. It learns from what it does, stores those learnings, refines its approach. Technologies like NLP, natural language processing, helping computers get human language and machine learning, that's what powers this intelligence. It lets them adapt, where rigid systems just, well, they fail.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me, this goal-driven thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like it opens the door to much more complex work than just data entry. How does an agent actually manage to break down a big, complex goal into smaller, manageable steps? And maybe more importantly, how does it deal with all that messy, unstructured data emails, requests?
Right. That intelligence you're pointing to often comes down to something called task decomposition. Instead of just one path, it breaks a big goal, maybe planning a whole marketing campaign into subtasks. So researching trends, maybe drafting some ad copy, figuring out scheduling. And throughout this, the agent can reassess, it can reflect, self-correct its decisions, this kind of iterative refinement, plus remembering solutions to past problems. That's what makes it smart. And that ability to reason is precisely why they can handle unstructured data, the free text in an email, a customer support message. They can give much more nuanced, helpful responses than old systems ever could.
That distinction feels huge. Could you give us a quick rundown? What are the main types of AI agents that are particularly relevant for SMBs? Maybe a quick example for each.
Sure. I think we can sort of group them by what they do for the business. First, conversational AI agents. These use NLP, often LLMs, large language models, the powerful AI brains to have human-like chats. Think customer service chatbots, answering FAQs or booking appointments.
Okay, got it. Like the ones we see on websites.
Exactly. Then you have task automation agents. These do actions based on triggers, like generating invoices or updating CRM records, but they go beyond basic scripts. They understand context better. There are also generative AI agents. These create original content, blog posts, ad copy, product descriptions, really helpful for marketing teams.
Right, freeing up human creativity.
Precisely. And predictive AI agents. They look at past data to forecast things like sales trends or maybe optimize inventory levels.
So trying to see around the corner a bit.
Yeah. And those are just some main categories. The lines are blurring, though.
Yeah, that's what I find fascinating. We're hearing about multimodal agents, ones that can see, speak, and type, maybe process images and text. It kind of reminds me of how a person might start as a specialist, then become more like a project manager, coordinating different functions. This evolution, it feels like it makes engaging with this tech now really crucial for SMBs, doesn't it?
That's a really good analogy. It captures it perfectly. They're moving from simple tools to, multifaceted digital workers. Highly valuable.
So, okay, given these capabilities, why do SMBs need AI agents right now? What specific real-world problems are they solving for smaller businesses? Businesses often struggling with limited staff, maybe operational bottlenecks, but still needing to deliver great, personalized customer experiences.
Well, they're a strategic asset exactly because they hit those core SMB challenges across almost every function, really. Take customer service and sales. You get 24/7 service with chatbots. Staffing that with people, prohibitively expensive for most SMBs. Plus, they can automate lead qualification, offer personalized recommendations.
Okay.
In operations and logistics, they smooth out back office stuff, auto-generating invoices, sending payment reminders, monitoring inventory. We've actually seen cases where AI agents cut excess inventory by 35% and boosted accuracy significantly.
Oh,
And even
wow.
in human resources, they can handle routine things like screening resumes or scheduling interviews. That lets HR folks focus on more strategic work like talent development.
That's a broad impact. So how does an SMB figure out the right place to start? Are there certain tasks that are just, better candidates?
Yeah, generally the best tasks to start with share some common traits. They're often repetitive and time-consuming. Think data entry. They also tend to involve unstructured data, those emails, customer feedback forms where traditional automation just gets stuck. And finally, tasks needing contextual understanding, like customer support, where that ability to grasp nuance is really valuable. For an SMB, probably the smartest move is to pick one single high-friction task first, then deploy a lightweight pilot project. Test it out before you go bigger.
That makes sense. Start small, prove the value. But speaking of value, what about the ROI? What are realistic expectations here? Is it just about saving costs?
The value is definitely there, and it's quantifiable, but it goes way beyond just cutting costs. We see data showing SMBs save a median of $7,500 annually. Okay, that might not sound world-changing, but for a small business, that could be huge breathing room. And a quarter save over $20,000.
Yeah, that's significant.
And productivity gains. They range from maybe 27% to over 100%. Costs can drop by around 15% on average. We've seen specific examples like a mortgage provider slashing loan processing costs by 80% and approving loans 20 times faster. These aren't just theories, they're real results.
Those numbers are really compelling. They definitely paint a picture. But, there's often this fear around AI, especially about jobs. Can you address that? This idea of human-AI collaboration. Is it really about augmentation, not just replacement?
Absolutely. And it's a critical point, a misconception we really need tackle head on. AI agents aren't really designed to replace people. They're meant to be digital co-pilots or maybe assistants. Their purpose is to take over the repetitive, time-consuming, often low-value tasks. This frees up your human employees to focus on the higher-value stuff: strategy, creativity, critical thinking, dealing with complex customer issues, things humans are uniquely good at. So this collaboration model lets an SMB use its people more effectively. The AI becomes a force multiplier, boosting productivity, innovation, and honestly, even employee satisfaction because they're doing more interesting work.
Okay, that framing is really important. So let's say a business is convinced. Before they jump in and invest, what's the very first step? Assessing readiness. Is it about finding the coolest new AI tool?
Definitely not about the tech first. It actually starts with a deep look at your existing business workflows. Where are the bottlenecks? Where are the real pain points? You need to define a clear, measurable business problem that the AI is going to solve. Otherwise, you risk ending up with, a solution in search of a problem. That's just wasted effort and money.
Right. Avoid the shiny object syndrome. So once you've found potential problems, how do you prioritize? Which one do you tackle first?
You look at two main things: impact, potential. Will this AI agent actually save significant time or money or really improve the customer experience? And feasibility: is the process, structured enough, at least to start, for an agent to handle effectively? And again, I can't stress this enough, the pilot project. It's such a low-risk, high-value way to start. Test it in a controlled way, get real data before you commit big. It builds confidence too.
Okay, pilot project is key. Now, we always hear data is king with AI. What does that practically mean for an SMB thinking about an AI agent?
Yeah, it's fascinating how directly data quality hits agent effectiveness. It really is garbage in, garbage out. If your training data is poor, incomplete, or biased, the agent's behavior is going to be unreliable, maybe even harmful. So getting your data house in order, having robust data foundations, good governance practices, ensuring data is accurate and complete, that has to happen before you really dive deep into AI. It's foundational.
And what about the tech systems they already have? Do they need to be, like, AI ready?
Absolutely. The agent needs to talk to your other systems, your CRM, your ERP, accounting software. Usually this happens through APIs, application programming interfaces. Think of them as digital messengers allowing different software to exchange information. Without that integration, the AI agent is stuck in a silo. It can't get the data it needs, and it can't act on the insights it generates. It becomes pretty useless. And while these no-code or low-code tools are making AI much more accessible, which is great, it doesn't mean you don't need internal skills. In fact, something like 95% of SMB decision makers say they feel they need more AI training.
Wow, 95%. So for an SMB that maybe can't hire a whole team of data scientists right away, what are the most crucial internal skills or capabilities to build?
The big one is building AI literacy across the board. Everyone, from the top down to frontline staff, needs a basic understanding of what AI can do and, importantly, what it can't do, its limitations. You also need skills in data governance and management. Someone needs to be responsible for data quality, security, privacy, and finally, maybe the most important human skills, critical thinking and adaptability. Because people's roles will shift. They'll move from routine execution to overseeing the AI, handling exceptions, doing more strategic work. So it's really about upskilling your current team and creating a culture where it's okay to experiment, to learn.
Okay, let's talk costs. That's always a big one for SMBs. What's the true investment look like when implementing AI agents?
Right. It's definitely more than just the sticker price. It varies a lot depending on whether you build a custom solution, buy something off the shelf, or use a hybrid low-code grand barcode platform. Custom building. That can start around $10,000 for a very basic pilot, but quickly go up to $200,000 or even more. Buying off the shelf is usually much cheaper up front, maybe $100 to $5,000 a month subscription. But then you have the ongoing operational costs, things like usage fees for the LLMs or other AI services the agent uses, cloud hosting costs, and definitely maintenance and updates. And this raises a really important question. What about the hidden costs? These often get missed, but they're critical. Things like data preparation, getting your data ready and ensuring its quality. That can easily be 20–30% of your total project budget. If you skimp here, the agent won't work well.
Garbage in, garbage out again.
Exactly. And integration complexity. Connecting the agent to your existing systems, especially older ones, that can be really complex and costly, sometimes 40–60% of the project cost. Then there's training and change management. Getting your team ready, that's another significant investment. And even environmental costs. It's less discussed, but training big AI models uses a massive amount of energy and water, something to be aware of.
So underinvesting in those hidden areas like data quality and integration, that directly increases your risks.
Absolutely. It increases technical risk. The agent might fail, and business risk, you don't get the expected value. Maybe you even damage customer trust. Budgeting for these hidden costs up front is actually proactive risk mitigation.
That's a crucial insight. Hidden costs, hidden risks. So when an SMB decides to move forward, this build versus buy choice, what does that strategic decision really look like?
Okay, so the buy option, getting an off-the-shelf solution, is usually the fastest and most cost-effective way for an SMB to get started. You get value quickly, often with pre-built integrations. It's great for common problems, like standard customer service bots. The downside, less control, less customization. The build option, custom development, gives you total control. You can tailor it exactly to your unique needs, maybe build a core competitive advantage, but it takes longer, costs more, and you own the maintenance burden. For a lot of SMBs, that hybrid low-code, no-code approach often hits the sweet spot. You get the speed and lower cost of buying, but with much more customization potential than you might think. Visual tools, drag-and-drop interfaces, easy API connections. It lets you test and iterate quickly.
And regardless of the path, build, buy, or hybrid, you keep coming back to the pilot project. Why is that absolutely non-negotiable?
It's non-negotiable because it's your safety net. It's how you manage risk strategically before you commit fully. A pilot lets you test the agent's real-world effectiveness with a small group. You measure its performance against clear goals. You gather crucial feedback to make it better. And honestly, you build internal buy-in by showing actual results, even on a small scale. It proves the concept. And when we talk about integration, making these agents actually do things, APIs are usually the key. They let the agent act like a real digital worker, pull data from the CRM, update the accounting system. Many platforms now offer pre-built connectors, which helps a lot.
But connecting everything like that,
Yeah.
what are the security implications? That sounds like it could open up new risks.
That's a critical point, yeah. Security has to be paramount. We need robust measures, things like data encryption, both when data is moving and when it's stored, multi-factor authentication for accessing the agent or its controls, and really granular access controls for the agent itself. The principle of least privilege is vital here. The agent should only have the permissions it absolutely needs to do its job. You don't want it becoming an overprivileged user that creates a huge new target if something goes wrong.
Okay, so security is baked in. Now, once the agent is deployed, maybe after a successful pilot, how do we actually know if it's working well? How do you measure performance?
Success needs clear, quantitative metrics, key performance indicators, KPIs. These tend to fall into a few buckets. You've got operational KPIs. How many hours are saved? Has there been a reduction in support tickets? How long does it take the agent to complete a task? Then customer-facing KPIs. What's the goal completion rate for the chatbot? Are CSAT scores improving? How long are conversations? And agent-specific KPIs. What percentage of queries does it handle without needing a human? How often does it fail or need to escalate? What's its error rate? Your pilot project sets the baseline for these, and then you need continuous logging and dashboards to track them over time. That's how you see if it's really delivering value. But even with autonomous agents, humans are still vital. A strong AI strategy absolutely needs a human-in-the-loop component for quality control.
Okay, human in the loop. How do humans actually contribute to that quality control? What does that look like day to day?
Several ways. Humans monitor the agent for weird or unintended behavior. Maybe it's failing silently, or gets stuck in a loop, or starts saying strange things, hallucinating. They also define the rules for escalation. When does the agent absolutely need to hand off a complex or sensitive issue to a person? And really importantly, humans provide corrective feedback. They tell the agent when it got something wrong, which helps it learn and improve over time. It closes that loop. And this all ties into what's sometimes called agentic governance. It's about being proactive, building oversight right into the design and operation of the AI.
Agentic governance. Okay, what does that look like in practice for an SMB? Sounds potentially complicated.
It doesn't have to be overly complex. It starts with clear accountability. Who is ultimately responsible if the AI makes a mistake or causes harm? This is especially crucial in regulated fields. You likely need some cross-functional oversight, maybe a small review group with people from different parts of the business, IT, legal, operations, bringing different perspectives, and definitely incident response protocols. You need a clear plan before something goes wrong. What do you do if the AI violates a policy or there's a breach? How do you react quickly and effectively? Another huge piece here is transparency and explainability. AI can feel like a black box, right? And that creates a trust gap. I think I saw a stat that only about 22% of consumers feel comfortable sharing data with AI.
Wow, that low.
Yeah.
So how can SMBs build that essential trust both with their customers and their own employees when they start using these agents?
You have to design for transparency from the start. The agent shouldn't just give an answer. It should ideally be able to show its work, maybe indicate its confidence level, provide the rationale, point to the supporting data. And you need to be really proactive in communicating your AI principles and policies. Be open about how you're using AI, what safeguards are in place. People generally understand technology isn't perfect, but they value honesty and transparency. Frankly, doing this well isn't just about compliance, it's a strategic advantage. It builds loyalty, reduces risk. And speaking of compliance, we can't forget the regulatory side. The landscape is moving fast. Think of the EU AI Act classifying certain tools as high risk. Even without new AI-specific laws everywhere yet, SMBs must comply with existing data protection rules like GDPR or CCPA.
Right, so what are the key actions an SMB needs to take to stay compliant?
Fundamentally, protect the data. Use safeguards for sensitive information. Detect and try to mitigate bias in the agent's behavior. Assign clear accountability for the AI's actions. And document everything you need, audit trails for AI-driven decisions, just like any other critical process.
Okay, so governance, transparency, compliance, all crucial. Now, one of the big promises is continuous learning. How does an AI agent actually adapt and get better over time?
It's all about the feedback loop. It's a cycle. The agent does something, it gets feedback on how well it did, it uses that feedback to adjust its internal workings, its algorithms, and then it tries again, gets new feedback. That feedback can come from different places, directly from humans in the loop correcting it, from the agent learning autonomously, kind of trial and error, sometimes called reinforcement learning, or by analyzing its own performance data, error rates, user interaction patterns. Having a structured way to collect and use this feedback is absolutely essential for the agent to keep improving.
And when does an agent need, like, a major update or retraining?
That usually happens because of something called concept drift or model drift. Basically, the real world changes. Maybe customer preferences shift, new products are launched, regulations change. If the agent was trained on old data, its performance will start to degrade because its understanding is out of date. Think of a chatbot still talking about discontinued products. Oh,
So continuously monitoring those KPIs we talked about is key. That's how you spot performance degradation early. When you see drift happening, the agent has to be retrained on fresh, relevant data to stay effective and aligned with the business.
this clearly isn't just about deploying one single agent and calling it a day, is it? How does this fit into a bigger long-term strategy? How does an SMB scale this?
Exactly. AI agents aren't just tools. They're fundamental building blocks for digital transformation. They help move a business towards becoming a fully intelligent enterprise. They change how you engage customers, automate core operations, and enable much smarter decision-making by finding insights in data humans just couldn't process. To really unlock the potential, SMBs need to think beyond single agents and towards building a multi-agent ecosystem. This isn't necessarily about one giant AI brain, but rather a network of specialized agents that work together. They're interconnected, collaborating to handle complex workflows.
Can you give an example of that? Sure. Imagine a customer has a complex support issue. The initial chatbot might handle the basics, but then realize it needs more info. It could escalate to a specialized knowledge-based agent to query internal documents. Maybe that agent then passes structured info to a generative agent to draft a clear, helpful response for the human support rep to review and send. See how that automates a much larger end-to-end process.
Yeah, okay, I see. So for you, the listener, the message is you can start small, prove the value with one agent, but then strategically scale by connecting specialized agents. That can transform whole business processes. It really feels like aligning people, process, and technology.
Exactly right. And for most SMBs, a smart approach is often to start with vendor solutions for initial use cases. Validate the potential, learn the ropes. While you're doing that, build internal AI literacy within your team. Then, down the line, you might decide to build custom solutions for areas where you want a unique competitive edge.
Makes sense. Now, every powerful tool has downsides. We need to talk risks. What are the key challenges or risks SMBs should be aware of with AI agents?
Being proactive about risk is crucial. We can group them. Technical risks. Things like data bias creeping in and leading to unfair outcomes. Security vulnerabilities, maybe prompt injection attacks, or that overprivileged agent issue we mentioned. And system failure is the agent hallucinating, getting stuck in loops. Then business risks. Becoming too dependent on the AI and losing critical human skills over time, falling behind competitors if they adopt AI effectively and you don't, and that trust gap with customers if you aren't transparent. And finally, ethical and regulatory risks. Privacy issues, especially with complex models trained on vast data complying with GDPR, can be tricky, and the challenge of accountability, who is responsible when an autonomous system makes a poor decision.
Okay, that's a sobering list, but important to acknowledge. It's not just problems, though. It's a framework for managing those risks proactively, right?
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step to mitigation. And,
Mm.
successful adoption isn't just about the tech working, it's hugely about change management, getting your team on board. You need a compelling North Star vision. How does this AI actually empower employees? How does it take away the boring, mundane stuff so they can do more interesting, strategic, fulfilling work? That's the story you need to tell.
And training people to work alongside these agents? That sounds like a critical investment that might get overlooked.
It often does, but it's vital. And it's not just technical how-to training, it's building that broader AI literacy for everyone. You want to foster a culture where people feel comfortable interacting with AI, giving it feedback, even experimenting a bit to see how it can help their specific workflow. And transparency is key when addressing fears about job displacement. The message has to be consistent. Augmentation, not replacement. AI handles the low-value tasks so humans can focus on high-value work that drives growth and innovation.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. What's the core takeaway here? AI agents feel like a fundamental shift, right? Huge potential gains for SMBs, but success isn't guaranteed. It really demands a structured, phased approach. And it's not a one-time project. It's a continuous journey of learning, adapting, and governing responsibly.
That sums it up well. And the action plan for SMB leaders listening. Define a clear business problem first. Assess your readiness, your data, your team. Choose your path. Build, buy, hybrid. Launch that pilot project. Establish governance early. And absolutely embrace continuous improvement and feedback.
So what does this all mean? It feels like a genuine opportunity for SMBs to, well, punch above their weight, as they say, to build smarter, more resilient, more customer-focused businesses.
And maybe this raises a final important question for you to think about. As these agents learn continuously and as we move towards these multi-agent ecosystems we discussed, how might your role or your team's role need to evolve? Will it shift from managing tasks to perhaps orchestrating an intelligent digital workforce? What new skills will you need to cultivate to not just cope, but really thrive in this emerging collaborative human AI future?